What's up, guys? It's the 22nd of March. This is gonna upload on the 23rd because it's 11:48. You know, p.m. We're about to go walk. I want to talk about like when life was normal. Like I remember life being normal in around 2008, 2007. Of course, I was very young at the time. You know, by like the sound of my voice, like um, I remember when life was like normal. I'm doing a walk, y'all. Shoot, man, the TV on. Um, yeah, I remember when life was normal. I had like a house with my mom and dad. You know, we were, united. You know what I'm saying? I was with my sister. You know what I'm saying? It was back in '08, '07, all those years. You know what I'm saying? We was just living life. Life was just normal, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Just walking down the street, you didn't have to look back. There were no ring cameras in no house. You go to people's house, you see ring cameras. There were no surveillance. That's what I how I figured out how life was normal. There was no cars and traffic. You literally just walk. I literally remember I was like 4 years old. I literally rode a scooter down the sidewalk across the street from the house. It was literally safe. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It would be cool, there'll be family. Family would be, united. It would come over, be like picnics and family celebrations all the time. You know what I'm saying? It'll be just normal, just life. Every day would just be just a new day. You know what I'm saying? It would just be a bright new day. Kind of optimistic. Of course, I was young, but how I remember, you know what I'm saying? We would go places here and there. You know what I'm saying? I would go on the merry-go-round as a kid, eat ice cream. The ice cream truck would come. You know what I'm saying? Eat some chips, eat some, good snacks or whatever. Just chill. Life was like, very chill. You know what I'm saying? Um, it was just normal. Normal. Life was really normal. Then after that, 2008, 2009, when the recession hit, the market crashed. Things just took a turn, bro. And then we lost our house. We had to sell it. And I remember I was with my mom. My dad wasn't in the picture. I'm not saying he just ran off. I guess we lost the house, and I guess they already kind of separated before. You know what I'm saying? Um, and yeah, and things just took a turn, and the economy just started just being crazy. You know, and now I have this life now, and I just remember how the air started getting more dense. Like the air was coarse, like thick. That's why you probably get tired or you get motivated because the air was thick. You know what I'm saying? I started seeing it through time, going on to 2012. Things was changing. The logos of foods and the technology, it was just changing. I started seeing a program take places because it takes time for programs to take place because you're talking with the brain. The brain is like, you know, it takes time for it to kick in. They started, coming. I don't know what happened years ago. Things started taking effect. You know what I'm saying? In the system, you know, and things just started becoming more genetically modified as time went on. You know, everybody just looked kind of different, just changing. You know, life just became just a roller coaster, and it became chaos. Like just every day, just hearing bad news, or you know just becoming bland. You know, that's how life was. You know what I'm saying? It was just not lifing through the years after 2008. You know what I'm saying? Of course, after you know 20 2012, that's when they said that's the end of the world. And they started making stuff more fake and plastic. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Things started changing in the music. You know, it just started becoming more just different, a different landscape. You know what I'm saying? Um, but then again, how it always kicks up is like there's always a reset that happens every 10 years or 100, like what happened during COVID, COVID and stuff, and they always have to reset this game of life. That's why it always turns around. And I guess around 2019 and 20, system had a hole in it. There was holes, and it was a breakthrough. And of course, when that happens, they always have to reset the system all over again. That's why it's like it again, because they reset the system. That's why before, years ago or years prior, things were normal. Then it took a turn because that's the system resetting itself. It always works like this. It's always a pendulum switch. You know what I'm saying? So that's just how it is when life was like normal. And then I guess around 2020 was a way for life to become normal and relive and things for it to like restore itself. But the system can't do that because it has to thrive, or the people that run this thing, or whatever the case is, they're gonna reset it. They're gonna do experiments and test. You know what I'm saying? That people agree to, whether they know it or not. You know, and reset this whole game. That's just what they do. They always reset this game every 10 years or whatever. They always do it. Like they kind of did in 2012. They did in 2008. They always have these little micro events and events that happens. You know what I'm saying? That changes history and just how things are. That's why life just becomes a certain way for you, or you feel like it's not even that because they always change it up. You know, this is how it is. Of course, when you make changes, there's gonna be, effects, drastic effects. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it looks different. When life was normal, we was able to ride a bike, you know, across the street, ride your scooter, eat a lollipop, you know what I'm saying? Watch your favorite TV shows, but then, actually have a life to live, have your front door open. But now it's like there's surveillance open, there's surveillance cameras everywhere. Every door person you meet has a lock camera inside their house. Oh, it's because things got unsafe. That is a result, a variable. No, because it's to control us. We live in a new grid now, a technological grid or whatever. That's how these people, have control over this, you know, this system. So they had to put this. It's not because um crime or none of that. That's a variable. It's because that's just how it is. It's the meta. It's part of the system reset. So they had to make people get certain things, or facilitate things for them to do it. It's not because things aren't safe. You know, look at other countries. They're more happy. They're cool, even though they're getting bombed. They're cool. They're grateful. But they come here while we have cameras. Like it don't make no sense. It's because it's a reset. The system always has a factory reset, so they have to do this. You know, I also have a camera too. We just got it. I mean, it's broken. We unplugged it. We have kids. And, my little cousins, they unplugged it or whatever. So that's just what they do to control this crib. They always they gonna do. I remember nothing was surveillance like that. You know, everything's on camera. You've seen all these clips. All these clips you see online is from real life. It's just clips and rehashed things that's just remodified over and over again. You know, because that's just what it is. Because everything has been, is recorded. Everything's recorded now. I'm probably being recorded right now by some camera that I don't know. It was never like this years ago. You don't know why people don't like to be recorded, or they don't go out without doing this or moving a certain way, because everything's surveillance, and they kind of know that. And you never had to worry about that back then. It's because how the system is. You know, it's just a new economy. So that's when life was normal. Now we live in like a, what you could say, a matrix or whatever, a world, a metaverse. You know, it's just different. I remember life was like normal. You know, check is that. You know, it's more like paradise, but now it's like more surveillance. It's more monitored. It's just how it is, man. And there's police everywhere because this is a system. That's all it is. It's not because it's unsafe, and that plays a role because effects and the foods and all that other stuff. Yeah, man, all of it. That's before life was normal, but now it's not even normal. That's just how they got to do it to reset. So you always got to adapt. You know what I'm saying? That's why I suggest you tap in with yourself to kind of adapt your physical body to acclimate in this environment. Because if you're not, then you're probably gonna end up like the rest of the 99.9% of people on this earth, like as walking machines, the walking, talking, breathing machines. Without any, you know, upper thoughts. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. So yeah, life was normal.